Hello everyone, welcome to How to Judge Mahadasha Part 3. In this video I'm looking at the actual sequence number of your Mahadasha. There are a potential of 9 Mahadashas to be lived through in anybody's life in this age, and I'll be showing you how to find the number of your sequential Mahadasha and how that sequence affects you as you move through this incarnation. In the first parts of this series, please check them out. I've considered the rising sign and the degree of your Mahadasha planet also very important judgments. So if you are new to my channel, sub below and let's begin. So.CHECK Mahadasha then has a sequence of 9 Mahadashas potential maximum in a human lifetime in this age, starting from your birth Mahadasha and going forward in that way. It is generally understood that it's like the waves of the ocean, so that the second, fourth, sixth and eighth Mahadasha, the even numbers, are thought of those calming low waves, whereas the first, third, fifth, seventh, but not the ninth, are thought as those high waves which give you disturbance in your life. In addition to this, everyone, it's understood that the third Mahadasha, the fifth, and the seventh are particular turning points in our existence when things become very unclear and our direction is uncertain. So I will in fact be exploring the whole Mahadasha experience as an evolutionary path. And in this way, I would prefer to think of it as a river of life rather than an ocean. Because what's actually happening is we enter this river of life and we flow along it, following the natural path of this river. We don't have any choice. It's our destiny in our incarnation. But we come to those bends in the river where the river takes a completely new turn and it becomes a bit disturbing to us because we're not sure of our direction. So that could be very much likened to the third, fifth, and seventh Mahadasha. So we need to explore this, as I say, as a whole sequence to get good understanding. So quickly, how to check what sequence you are in. Just print out or screenshot your Mahadasha list from any computer software. Many are free, by the way, on the internet now. And just like here for Boris Johnson, Rahu is number 1, Jupiter number 2, Saturn number 3, and for him, Mercury, his present Mahadasha, is number 4 in this sequence. Note that he's around 55 years of age, but he's still only got to his 4th Mahadasha. It can vary according to what is your first dasha. For him, it was Rahu, followed by Jupiter, Saturn, long periods of time. Finally, everyone, before we go down that river of life and explore the 9 periods of our Mahadashas, let me just show you the planetary association here. It's quite important. Some astrologers take a pure Tara Bala way of analyzing 1 to 9, so that 1 becomes Janma, 2 Sapat, and 3 Vipat, and so on. So I will definitely be using those terms and incorporating and explaining them to you as we go through this. But I like to also use this very ingenious system whereby we have Ketu associated with the first Mahadasha, Venus second, Sun third, Moon fourth. Why? Because this is a natural order from the Nakshastras, Ketu being the ruler of Ashwini, the first Nakshastra. So I will be incorporating both into my interpretation. So without further ado, let's begin on this very important exploration. So your first Mahadasha, everybody, is called Janma. Janma means birth of consciousness. Now, it's also ruled by Ketu, as I've just explained. So if you look at where your Ketu is placed at birth, it will give you an understanding of the circumstances of your early childhood. If you're not clear about that by house, have a check of the videos on my channel. I'll put that playlist below here so you can check out what karmas you brought with you that influenced your first Mahadasha. So in our first Mahadasha, we are coming to consciousness of ourself. Therefore, we are often as we were in our last life, in the sense of circumstances, personality, and experiences continuing on from our last incarnation. That's why it's ruled by Ketu. Ketu is that headless entity that is just continuing in an automatic movement that has already been set by past experience. Because of this factor, it's actually quite hard to start something concrete in your life at this time. For most people, it's just your childhood Mahadasha, pure and simple, and that's the end of it. But for some people who actually have Saturn, Rahu as their first Mahadasha, and they start at the beginning of those dashas, they could actually get to 1920 in this first Mahadasha. If that is the case, you're going to find it a very choppy time in your teenage years, and things will only settle down for you when you get to that second Mahadasha. So when you enter your second Mahadasha, known as Sampat, you actually find your feet. This is the time when your life direction becomes a little bit clearer depending on your age in which you enter this Mahadasha. Sampat means flying together. It's a beautiful description, isn't it, of coming together with a companion of some sort. It's ruled by Venus. So check where your Venus is in your chart. That will definitely influence this second Mahadasha. So Sampat, flying together, is about joint endeavor. It could be marriage for some people. It could be a special friendship. It's a joining with other humans to find a purpose in your life. It's a real awareness of yourself in relationship to others. But Venus has another meaning too. The other side of Venus is, of course, financial situations and money. Second Mahadasha is a time of financial growth, no matter what your age. It could be just more pocket money depending on your age, or it could be a really good first job. But either way, you be concerned with financial security in this time period, and it often works out very well. The negative side to this second Mahadasha period, Sampat, is that Venus takes over in a negative way, and you have multiple relationships that don't work out. You are experimenting sexually. All sorts of things could be actually going on. There can be overindulgence in many sensual pleasures, including food and drink, that can be negative for you. So it's got a good and bad side, but on the whole, it's a generally successful period in most people's life. Then you enter your third Mahadasha, known as Vipat. Vipat means flying apart. So we can see something's changed in a major way. And the third Mahadasha for everybody is a challenge. There's no way around it. Third Mahadasha is associated with the sun. Sun means Dharma. So the purpose of your third Mahadasha is to find your dharmic path in life. And it's no easy journey. There's going to be many ups and downs. It's a Mahadasha of pain and frustration many times. You need to look where your sun is, and that may give you some help in seeing how it's going to go. And of course, your Mahadasha Lord. But those factors even to one side, third Mahadasha is a bumpy road. It's up and down all the time. You're maybe going this way, that way, trying to find your true purpose in life. But know this, in the third Mahadasha, it will come to you. You won't have to search. It will actually be there right in front of you. The trouble is, are you ready to embrace it? And indeed, what does it mean to find your true dharmic path in life? Well, this can be many things to many people according to your actual destiny. So it may be a career path. It may be a family relationship situation. It may be a religious path. But whatever it is, it's your absolute purpose and dharmic path in this life. And this is the time when you have to embrace it fully, or at least you have to recognize it. That's the point. Yes, because when people reach their fourth Mahadasha, known as Shema, they find security and purpose. What happens is, even if at the last bhukti of your third Mahadasha you find that purpose, you go to work at it in a very clear way in your fourth Mahadasha time period. There are so few frustrations now. You just know what you have to do in terms of following that Dharma. It doesn't mean there can't be difficulties and trials and tribulations. Have a check of your moon and of your Mahadasha Lord also, obviously. But what tends to happen in this fourth period is you're not questioning anything. Am I on the right path? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing something else? You know what you have to do. There is the job at hand, and you get on with it 24/7, working extremely hard. This is the reason why the fourth Mahadasha is often the time when you reach the top of the tree in your career path. Not everybody gets to it at this time. Again, age factor and other factors have to be taken into consideration. But wherever you are, whatever your job and your life path, you are working at it successfully, and it works out in a fortunate way, because the whole purpose of Shema Mahadasha is to give you security. It's ruled by the moon, which is material success and fulfillment. So for most people, it's one of the most materially fulfilling times of their life. So you finally arrived at your fifth Mahadasha, known as Pratchari. This is a very difficult, challenging time, but it's very important to understand why. It's like you've been flowing down this river of life, and you found your fourth Mahadasha, success and security and purpose. And all of a sudden you're thinking, what else could I do? You're confident now. You're confident in your purpose and your strength. And you're wanting to do new things, to use that power which you have attained. And little tributaries come off from the river of life. And you're thinking, where would that take me? What could I do with this? Temptations galore come into your life in this fifth Mahadasha. You have to be very careful. You have to watch your ethics also, because you are tempted into unethical behavior. It's ruled by Mars in the natural sequence I've been talking about. Mars is about selfish, independent behavior sometimes, but also a great sense of confidence, as though you can do anything which you want to do. So you do need to have caution. What you're going to experience, though, is a sense of letdown. People take themselves off into new jobs, new experiences, even new relationships that do not work out in this fifth Mahadasha, because they're not meant to. That's the point. They are not your true Dharma. They are not your true path. But it's often the time, again, all depends on your age, of the midlife crisis for many people. And it's just one of those biological factors that happens to human beings. So what you have to be aware of here is that you are searching for excitement and change. 5 just means change, but you are going off on a place or a little river, if you like, from the main river of your life, which is not yours by right. It's not meant for you. And you don't experience that until you get out of this fifth Mahadasha. While you are in it, it just seems like endless feeling of frustration and disappointment. You enter so many new experiences, but they let you down. So it's only very often with a hindsight that you realize what's been happening. When you finally enter your sixth Mahadasha, you look back and you see clearly that those choices, those opportunities were not really in your favor and were not really meant for you at all. So do you come back on track again during the sixth Mahadasha? In many ways, people do. The sixth Mahadasha is known as sadhana, and this word gives us an understanding of the spiritual aspect too, but it is ruled by Rahu. So there's a dual path going on here. The sixth Mahadasha gives many people wish fulfillment and a great deal of satisfaction in their life, materially and spiritually as well. It's really often a time of retirement for some people. All depends, as I say, on your age. But people who do retire in this Mahadasha want to enjoy themselves in a big way, because Rahu gives you that feeling of enjoyment and almost greed for more and more. So this is a time of many people who retire, take their retirement pot of money and go off on world cruises and so on. That's very often happens in this sixth Mahadasha. It's that feeling of one last moment to enjoy. And even if you're in the sadhana phase of this Mahadasha, where you find so much wisdom and spiritual fulfillment, everybody has to be aware that this sixth Mahadasha is a little bit of an illusion, because it's ruled by Rahu. So what's happening is you're finding fulfillment, you're finding wisdom even. But what you're going to do with that, for how long you can really enjoy it and experience it, is limited, because coming along is the big transformation time of your seventh Mahadasha. Yes, you finally reach your seventh Mahadasha, the most feared Mahadasha, known as Nidana, which means destruction. But let's be very clear here. The most difficult Mahadasha really is your fifth Mahadasha, when you take off on the wrong path and get a lot of disappointment. The seventh Mahadasha, Nidana, is about destruction, yes, but destruction of what? Your ego. Is it the death Mahadasha? Now, first of all, we have to look at the age at which you enter this Mahadasha. The average age will be 72. So most people, if they are particularly in a long Mahadasha like Saturn, Rahu, etc., are going to only leave this at about 90 years of age. So of course most people die in their seventh Mahadasha, but that's because of the age factor. It's got nothing to do with the actual meaning of Nidana, destruction. Many people live through this seventh Mahadasha, but they are going to experience the Nidana factor. And it's also linked with Jupiter. So let's put it all together. This Nidana means destruction of ego, destruction of false ego. So what's really happening when we lose our false ego is that we have a back step where we have to go away from our built up ego around status in life and material fulfillment. We go back into our inner self, who we really are as we entered into this incarnation. We find our true soul, our true self again. So, but that can be painful for some people, where they lose status, maybe wealth, maybe sickness, and all of these difficulties come upon you that show you that you are frail and that you are absolutely limited in what you can attain materially. So old age is a trial. It's one of those four things in life. Okay, birth, old age, disease, and death. They are the trials of life. And in this seventh Mahadasha, you realize that you are growing old and that you have to leave behind many factors that gave you security and status. That's what the Nidana means. It means a complete transformation. After that transformation, you reach your eighth Mahadasha, known as Mitra. Mitra means friend or friendliness, and it's a most auspicious Mahadasha. It's naturally ruled by Saturn, which you might think is a bit strange, but let's explore it. The eighth Mahadasha gives a sense of peace to most people. People who get through the seventh Mahadasha of transformation and enter this one find peace inside themselves. They become friendly to everybody, and everybody becomes their friend as well. They find friendship, they find belonging in their world. It's a very peaceful Mahadasha for many people. It's a settled time because Saturn gives that inner security now. And indeed, it's often said that if you leave this life in your eighth Mahadasha, it's an easier passage because you have this security and this friendliness surrounding you. So it's definitely something to look forward to, your eighth Mahadasha. It's got a spiritual security and a material security also. Finally, we come to the ninth Mahadasha, known as Paramitra, the supreme friend. Who is the supreme friend? Of course, it is God. This is the meeting with God Mahadasha, and is ruled by Mercury. Why Mercury here? Because Mercury makes you into a childlike state again. Mercury rules childhood. So if you get to the great age of your ninth Mahadasha, you'll be quite an old and frail person most likely, and you become childlike again. You find that inner simplicity, ready for that meeting with the supreme friend who is indeed God. So I hope that this exploration of the evolutionary path of the sequence in Mahadasha was useful to everybody. If you are new to my channel, sub below, and coming up soon will be the fourth in this series of Mahadasha judgment, and indeed many more videos on Vedic astrology and prediction also. Goodbye for now, and God bless everyone.